What's up, boys? Back with another episode of Terran School. Today I'm gonna be teaching you guys how to beat mech with bio. Has been a popular request on my stream for a while now. So I'm gonna show you guys a little video on it. This is a game I played against Clem in a tournament a while ago. And more important than everything, want to teach you guys a lot of the theory behind it. Teach you guys some things that I see people get wrong a lot of the times. And yeah, remember this video is not going to be about the build order. I'll go over the build order with you guys. There's not like there's too much to do in the early game anyway. You guys can copy it if you like, but I'm not gonna say too much specifically about the build order. I'm more gonna talk about the theory on how to beat mech with bio. Seems to be something people struggle with a lot, even a lot of pro players. Because it's kind of unusual, you know? It's like that annoying style you run into on the ladder. So yeah. So I'm going to be doing a safe double gas opener here. I assume you guys all know how to do that by now. It's not a super long game. It's almost 17 minutes, so pretty decent game. I wanted to save you guys the terror of having to watch an hour game against mech, because I do have those. And I do win those most of the time as well. I think compared to other Europeans, I think Sol is really good at playing against mech as bio. I think I'm also pretty good at it, so I will deem myself qualified to give you guys a Terran School lesson on how to beat mech. So I believe this game I'm gonna be going for 3 units. Reaper, Hellion. I think this is a very safe build I'm doing. I'm not SCV scouting. He's being a little bit safer than me even, because as you can see in the production tab, he's also going for a double gas expand. And yeah, I think the way this, because I don't know, just for some context, I guess I believe this is from Cheese Adelphia. It was a best of 5, and I was planning to do a lot of cheese in this series. Not necessarily all ins, but I wanted to do Proxy Reaper into transition a lot. And this was the one macro game I planned in between. I just wanted to play a normal game to, you know, fake him out a little bit. Ended up winning quite convincingly against this mech play, I would say. Once again, don't forget, trademark of the channel. We make a massive mistake in this game. That's all we do. That's all we do. I won't hide my mistakes, okay? I don't actually use this builder anymore. I don't know why. Maybe I just forgot about it. So this is 3 units, Reaper, Hellion into add-ons before starport. Okay, looks very safe. Fast cyclone, I imagine. Gas is already saturated. Owning him in the trade here. Don't try this at home, to be honest. But running up the ramp with less units than the other guy. Or the same amount of units, actually. Alright. The starport's gonna come behind. I would say, as a TVT opener, just to be safe, I would always recommend you to make a cyclone. Unless you scout completely what your opponent is doing, just some more early game tips, always get the cyclone. Because you never know when you need to get the Banshee. It's really good against Raven RS as well, so just, you know, just get the cyclone first. Don't be a greedy bastard. Cyclone into Raven. Mislanding my factory on accident. Third gas. Always get your third gas fast, guys. Don't like all your stuff is so gas expensive. Imagine after this having to start another Raven and a tank. Always get your gases. Gas. It's funny because Terran is such a low gas race in general, but in TVT, you get your third and fourth gas so fast. It's nuts. So I got a little bit of a lead here, I think. Yeah, because my orbital's already finished, that's the difference. So I'm gonna be ahead like 3 SCVs from that early harassment. Nothing too deal breaking, I guess. And now more and more we're gonna get into it. Obviously, early game there's no sign of mech or bio. Like in TVT, it takes very long to actually realize what your opponent's doing. Like what I'm seeing here, this literally doesn't mean anything. This could be bio, this could be mech, this could be an all-in. If you scout this early, more than anything, you want to see if he is actually still on the tech lab. He could be on the reactor already, making Vikings getting ready for a push, or making cloak. That's like the only things you really look for here. But this setup in general, it doesn't mean anything towards a macro game or mech or bio. It's both, you know. Like if you look at my base, my setup look exactly the same. You can only really tell from the moment your last Raven finishes. So I'm only making 2 Ravens this game. He's making 3 Ravens. So in my case, if you scout my base, you'll be able to tell a bit faster, like 5:30, 5:25-ish. But since I think he's making another Raven, it's gonna take a long time for me to scout if it's actually mech or bio. And the reason for that is that you switch the barracks and the starport, and then once you get the barracks on the tech lab, you can be starting stim. And that's the first hint. Or first, yeah, what to call it. First thing that makes you realize what tech it is, I guess. Also, if I play bio, I usually get my E-base before my barracks. Which makes it a bit harder to scout, I think, because you won't see added barracks. Now here we go. Obviously, once again, I'm not sure if this happens in every MMR, but I do it and my opponents do it sometimes. This tech lab making an upgrade is not a 100% confirmation of bio, because it's very easy to fake this. This barracks has nothing to do. Like, it actually has nothing to do. So, even if I'm playing mech, it's pretty easy to just land it there and start stim, or even concussive shells if you want to be cheap and fake him out. So, even though it's a good hint, it's not a 100% confirmation in most cases. So, be careful. Keep trying to send out scouts and whatnot. One thing I do think is a very subtle hint is that if people play mech, let's see, he was a bit greedy, so he didn't make that many Marines. Oh, he's still producing them actually. Never mind. With mech, you usually send more Marines out on the map to scout, because with bio you actually want them with your army, but if you don't get upgrades for them with mech, they're actually not too valuable with your army. So if you see like 1 Marine in every single base on the map or something crazy, that's what I usually do as well, then it's more likely to be mech than bio. If it's bio, people are still gonna have Marine spotters, but it's gonna be like, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 on the map kind of thing, you know? Alright, so for your adaptation, honestly, the first time you actually need to make a change against bio or mech is when you make the add-ons on your 4th and 5th barracks. So until then, it actually doesn't matter what tech it is, because even if it's mech, you're gonna want to have 2 reactors on your next 2 barracks. And then if it's mech, you're gonna want to make tech labs on your 4th and 5th barracks, and if it's bio, those are reactors as well. That's like the first adaptation you make. So at this point, I actually don't really mind. I think maybe I scanned because I expected him to start factories already or something like this. But at this point, it actually doesn't matter yet what tech he's going for, because you can't, like, you're not supposed to make any adaptation yet. Everything just looks the same still. So the timing on which you have to scout for mech or bio is actually not that early, so you don't have to rush it or anything like that. As you can see, I actually barely missed the timing. He just made his factories right after. Also, in this meta, people start their factories before their armories, so their factories are always quite fast. Like, I feel like for most people this looks really weird that his production is ahead of mine as a mech player, but that's actually pretty standard. I like to go double eBay first, which I think is perfectly safe if you don't make too many mistakes. You can go barracks first as well, but you kind of have to go factories before armories. So even if this looks sketchy, this is actually completely normal. Let's see, do I know that it's mech yet actually? I'm not sure when I'm going to realize that it's mech. Maybe I already realized. Because of what I saw. Like a very late stim. Probably wouldn't make stim that late. Like my stim is finished and I didn't see him build it when I scanned like a minute ago. So maybe I already realized what it is. And once again, I don't have to make any adaptations yet. I'm gonna do a very bad pusher. I don't know. Do it if you want. It's I think this replay is probably gonna scare you away from doing it. Well, this is the big mistake I was talking about, by the way. I'm pretty sure I throw like all my units away, and then I'm still gonna go on to win the game, as usual. Maybe I was experimenting a bit with the Liberator. I don't usually make a Liberator. So. Ah, this is what happened. Look at this beautiful Raven positioning over here. I'm like, yeah, let's go. And I was queuing up my auto turrets, or trying, and then they had to come all the way from here. Okay, that was the super hyper funny moment of the video. You know, that's what we do. We're not all education. We're also hilarious. So here you see the 4th and 5th barracks are gonna come down, and that's when you want to scan. So usually you would probably scan, I don't know, halfway through these barracks or something. Of course, you want to have a bit of a heads up. Now, how many tanks is this? 7 tanks, Jesus. Let's see. Mineral field. So, a common mistake I see against mech is actually that people only make anti-air Vikings. But I feel like against mech, you actually need to get some map control pretty early on. So I wouldn't recommend making Vikings right away. Now, obviously, you have like the 6 from the start with the opener I did. But I would actually recommend to make a bunch of medevacs first. This game is obviously getting a little bit funky here. But you don't have to save up on Vikings and get the air control right from the start. The advantage of Bio against mech is that Bio players are richer. You're going to be able to get your 5th base faster. It's just, you're a lot richer in general. And that's when you go for a massive air switch and you win like that. You don't want to win the air battle from the start. That's not how it's supposed to go. So yeah, this is the way you do it, by the way. When you're behind in air. Like, 2 Ravens have so much power, and even though he has so many units, like, it looks like an insane amount of units. If you send the Ravens around, he doesn't see them. The Ravens are gonna hold it just by themselves, basically. Not sure exactly how this engagement's gonna go, but I'm pretty sure I'm just gonna win because of the 2 Ravens. Now, as you can see, I'm making medevacs. I think I haven't made add-ons yet, probably because I feel like I'm kind of dying. Here's the Ravens. Disable all the tanks. Normally I would say drop auto turrets, by the way. This is not how I usually do it, but I guess I was feeling it in the moment. But normally I would definitely say drop auto turrets. Maybe it would have even been the better call here. I think it would have been. Nice mark bank over here. Actually, you can see I forgot to scan. So I'm making anti-bio stuff. I wonder if I'm gonna cancel these, because these are supposed to be tech labs. Let's see. I see Hellions. Let's see what I do. I'm curious how fast, because I'm honestly, one of my weaknesses is that I don't usually realize what I scout. Like, at this point, it's very obvious mech. It has been obvious mech for a few minutes, but in the game itself, I'm pretty slow at like realizing. Wait, why don't I see what I have selected? That's kind of annoying, actually. Oh, there we go. I'm not gonna cancel the reactors. There we go. Yes. Okay, so now I can go into the anti-mech theory a bit more. This is kind of the phase of the game where I want it to be. Okay, so I'm gonna show you guys a very basic setup against mech that you should always follow. Very important thing number 1 is that you should actually... I'm not making... Oh, there we go. You should actually always make tanks. A lot of people think, well, why? The mech player is going to have so many more tanks than him. In a few minutes, he's going to have 12. And you're going to have 6. The thing is, tanks is actually the best anti-tank unit you have for a long time. And it's really hard for a mech player to actually push into tanks if you have bio support with them. like I said, a bio player is richer. So what you usually want to do is you want to move out on the map, you get a position. So a mech player can't just attack you. That's what's actually the scariest thing about mech. It's not the turtling or whatever. It's that they can do insanely strong pushes with a better army. You always want to make tanks so you can contain them a little bit. You don't want them to have like this base is already it was too fast. I couldn't do anything about it. But you really don't want him to get more bases than that for free. You always want to stand up contains with your tanks. Please keep making tanks. Then the second rule is to actually make medevacs until you're rich. If you have your 4th base saturated, your 5th base is getting up, that's when you make the starports and you go for air control. But for now, all you want to do is roam around. Then the third step, a very important part, is to leave at least one siege tank in every base. You don't have to pretend you don't know because you didn't scout it. You know they're always going to do Hellion run-bys or whatever. This is just what mech players do. Mech players, they have a really strong core army out of tanks, Vikings. And then the Hellions, they're so terrible in the fights, but they're very fast at killing SCVs, so that's what they do. They're going to sit on tanks and they're going to run by Hellions, so just in case, keep one tank at your vulnerable spots. So in this map, I have one tank right here. I'm probably going to move it here once I land my 4th, I think, and then one tank here. And that just saves you so much trouble from the Hellion run-bys. One Hellion run-by is just minus 20 SCVs, and you can get behind in the game very fast, you know? So please keep your tanks in position like that. Now, pay attention to the amount of tech labs I'm building. Actually, I accidentally didn't cancel this one. This one is also supposed to be a tech lab. And then I'm kind of correcting it here. Normally I would say build 2 tech labs on the 6th and 7th barracks and then a reactor on the 8th barracks. So you end up with 6 Marine, 5 Marauder production at the same time. And now, because I'm making all of these into tech labs, it's gonna balance itself out. So as you can see, it's really not a moment of... I feel like a lot of Terrans have like this desperation against mech, you know, where they feel like they need to attack, they need to finish the game. But I feel like Bio really has the advantage in the late game and they actually have the disadvantage in the mid game. His army is so strong. 10 tanks, 11 Hellbats, those are tanky for the army. They don't add a lot, but they mean you can't get to the tanks. He did take a bad fight before. Normally this army would admittedly look a bit stronger. Maybe 14 tanks, 10 Vikings. You know, something like this. But in the late game, these units are not going to be that great. I'm going to be richer. I'm going to be able to make Viking Liberator more than he can. Here we go. That's why you have the defense. Like, this looks like the most simple thing in the world. But imagine this is not there. I could easily lose 10 SCVs. Like, just you will remember it. It's just so frustrating. And this is the part where Bio shines. I'm going to take the map control. I'm going to siege the tanks in the middle. I'm going to have drops moving around. Just so he can't take another base. Just so he can't move out for free. Against mech, you should always have most information. Mech really shouldn't have any map control. The only thing they can move out on the map with is Hellions, you know. You can move out with everything you want, basically. And Hellions can't contest it. So you're the one with all the map control. Don't give him anything. Don't let him take this base for free. Don't let him take this base for free. Don't let him push out for nothing. Right now I'm just moving around, but the end goal is just to siege in the middle. Now you can see I'm getting a lot richer. I have 6 command centers, I think. This is my 6th command center building. I made this one in an orbital so I can make more mules. Now, an important step as well, just like in TVP, I've explained this before, you want to get rid of the really high marine count at some point. Marines don't add anything really in the late game. They get destroyed. Even the Hellions beat Marines. Like, the most useless unit that they have in combat will destroy your Marines. They can't get close to the tanks at all. Their range is too short. Maybe in some weird scenario where the guy only goes for Sky Terran, they could be okay, but even then probably not. So in this case, I have way too many Marines compared to Marauders. So you're going to try to drop some Marines and even out that composition a little bit.
Additional supply depot.
And then you can replace it with more and better units. This is also roughly the time where I would start getting some starports. I'm pretty rich. There we go. Wow, that almost looked like I scripted this video.
Mineral field.
Did I? Anyway, I would recommend getting 2 more starports and then later on you add 2 more. You don't want to go too crazy. Now, what's so good about these drops is you don't rush them because you don't want to throw your units away. Because if this drop gets in, it's really annoying to deal with. They either need to send all their Hellions back, And if they don't have enough, they actually need to send tanks back. Because Hellions actually get stuck in building positioning and all. Like, imagine if he would A-move here, forgets to raise his depots, or A-move here. They just get stuck in his building line and stuff. It's very annoying to deal with. And for me, like I said, these units are basically useless. This is the only use they have. Getting a drop in is actually massive against mech. So as you can see, I have my setup. I'm getting richer. I'm getting my starports. I'm controlling the middle, making sure he doesn't get a 5th base while getting all my command centers up. Always try to keep moving around in sensor tower range if you can. Like, as you can see, I'm not doing anything. I'm not threatening anything. I'm just being annoying, making him move around, making sure he's scared to take a 5th base, etc. So now, I lost a bunch of Marines. I'm going to start Viking production. There's my extra 2 starports. Also, this is a pretty important move, since a lot of mech games, even if you're ahead, it's kind of hard to finish the game. You want to get your 2nd armory because you don't want to be behind in air upgrades. You're going to be a little bit behind because mech will always have the +1 or +2 armor already from their, combined mech armor upgrades. So you need to go for double upgrades to catch up. For them, it's kind of hard to tell as a mech player when you need to just switch into air, because ground mech units are always valuable. Like, they can make tanks and Thors. Liberators in the end counter Thors, but they still need to finish up their ground upgrades. So unless they get a 3rd armory, which I haven't seen anyone do, you can definitely catch up in those air attack upgrades, air armor upgrades. And just like I said, I'm being very annoying for him. Like, this looks scary for him, Look, he doesn't even have that many tanks. He has 4 here, sieged, 3 more here, and 3 moving around. He says his entire blob of units is like 60 supply. And he's just going to have to keep following it. Like, there's no way he's going to put a base here or here. If he takes this base, like, my army is so much faster than this, it's hard for him to defend, right? And meanwhile, look at the freedom I have on the map. I defended his run-bys. For all he knows, I could have this base already. I could have this base already. This is the strength of Bio, guys, what you're looking at right now. I'm richer than him. I have the map control. And it's really hard for him to actually move out and do anything. And at the same time, any drop gets in, that's damaging. So he always needs to cover his air. I might even go for another drop this game. I'm not sure about it. So don't forget your fusion core, by the way. You're going to have to get that liberator range. Also, spam command centers. I have a lot of money. I wouldn't be surprised if I drop down command centers now. I definitely should make a few more, I think. There we go. Setting up my bases. This base, by the way, should have a tank sieged at it. That's an oversight by me. Keep even if you have the outside bases, keep sieging tanks. What I see a lot in the late game, in my games even, if I don't have a tank here to defend, 2 Hellions can deny this base forever. Since you want to keep pressure, it's kind of annoying to send some bio units there most of the time. So just keep sending a tank there. Like, this base is protected. I could have easily sent this tank there and keep some rallies here, and then I'm completely safe, So here we go, another drop. Don't do this before you have your proper setup, unless you're really sure that, imagine he has no turrets, no sensor towers, he's moving out. Then it's a good move. But now I feel good to do it because I have my 4 starports already. I have my setup in the middle. Even if I lose this, he won't be able to move out easily, and I can replace my stuff with better units in time. Made a 2nd armory, but forgot to start the upgrade. Not nice. Here we go. Once again, tank doing work. Even if you made Hellbats, had some reinforcements. Of course, you can unsiege it if you want. Now this, honestly, it doesn't look big, but a lot of times this move can actually give you such a big lead. Like, this is really annoying for him to clean up. He needs to send all of his tanks back. Imagine you could drop on this, for example. I don't have too many medevacts left. I switch in air, but like 3 medevacts on this. This base is gonna take so much damage. Trust me, it looks easy, but it's so annoying to actually run out of a base with unsieged tanks and siege them at the right place. Like, you just threaten, and then he needs to siege them, and then you run back again, and then you need to unsiege them all, and you probably go again. You can even scan here. You go for the Thor. He needs to siege them all again. It's super, super annoying. Like, it's horrible. I feel for him. I'm the one making the plays, but I feel for him. And then one time he sieges too far forward, loses the tanks. Like, trust me, if you get in with a drop, it's just so annoying. And this is where the drops end. This is when I'm gonna make good units instead. As you can see, getting my libs and my Vikings up, mass command centers. I have the map control. I moved my army back for some reason. Maybe I was feeling threatened. Or maybe I was playing too fast for my own good and I didn't feel confident being out on the map anymore. I'm not sure. But at this point my army is getting better. You see, I had 7 tanks here before and he knew that, so he didn't push in. But obviously I knew I had to run, so I did. But if you keep your 7 tank, like imagine. How on earth is he gonna push through the middle with this army when you have 7 tanks and some bio here? It just doesn't work, right? It seems simple, but I don't know. I think it's a very strong and important point about playing mech. And then at this point, I know what the income is like. His income is actually a bit more because I haven't been muling. And mining a lot of gas. But you can see the situation is so much better for me. I have so many SCVs building. This is like 10 command centers. I just... Wait, what did I do? I have terrible saturation, that's why. And my SCVs are here. So my income is actually better at this point. But as you can see, the situation in the game is so good for me. I have 5 starports against 3. I have the double armory, which I'm not using. Nice meme. And I have about 10 command centers. And this is... Yeah, all of these things are the strength of bio. I feel like people don't realize the strengths of bio enough. That's why I really wanted to make this video. People always think, the mech army is better. And I'm forced to all in. But this is what it's really about. Getting to this amazing setup through, honestly, pretty basic moves. Obviously, it's tough. But yeah, I think it's mostly about the theory that the people don't get. And here we go. He simply can't push into this really. As you can see, who would have guessed tanks are good against tanks. Now he doesn't have that many units, so I YOLO in. Obviously amazing Viking count. And then try to not overextend. Like this, it looks like a good fight because he didn't have anything, but this bio would have died in one shot by those tanks. You know, you have to be careful. Generally, I don't recommend going into siege fights unless there's less than 5 siege tanks, 3 or 4, and you're already in a concave. If it's little tanks and you go in like a ball, it's already bad, even if there's little units. Like, seize the moment, you know? Don't be reckless. Always make sure to have a concave. Even if it's little amount of tanks, always make a concave. And now you can see the production is just huge for me. I don't think it will take me too long to finish this game. If more Vikings than him, more production and command centers. And then as soon as you have the Viking lead, a mech player can't really catch up because I'm just richer than him. I have more starports. You have to invest in factories. Once I get the air advantage, he's probably not going to catch up and he's going to have to win by Thors. But since I still have 9 siege tanks alive, which of 6 are probably in the front. 1 here, 1 there. 7 are in the front. Thors are not really going to be that good against Liberators either. And that's what's going to close out the game for me. I'm going to siege my tanks forward slowly together with the Liberators. Take some more bases, because that's what you do. Hey, I'm actually starting my double upgrades now as well. Proud of myself. And then, yeah, at this point, try to not max out completely on Viking Lib. You just want like a good amount, but I would say you always want 3 or 4 medevacs worth of bio. I say 3 medevacs worth of bio is a good amount to aim for. So 30 supply in total, including the medevacs. And then a siege tank count of like 6 to 10 is pretty good. And then the rest you can make into air. Now, something I want to suggest to try if you don't like this style. Personally, I think it's way harder. You can actually copy this entire game. But instead of Vikings, you get Ravens from the starports. You make the Corvid reactor from the tech lab. Do I have any tech labs? I don't. You make the Corvid reactor from the tech lab for the Raven energy. You get Ravens. And you stop making tanks. You just have the few tanks for safety. And you roam around with your bio with mass Ravens. And you disable the tanks and take good fights. Personally, I think that style is a lot harder to play. You need a lot of discipline. It's very easy to take bad fights like that. It also encourages turtle play a bit more because the other Terran is going to have to make turret rings and stuff. But it's another suggestion I wanted to make. If you don't like this style, if you don't like the the chill map control bio into Viking Lib. You can try bio with Mass Raven transition. But I think it's a lot harder. I think I might upload a replay of that. Actually, I'll do that. I'll upload a replay that I played like that in the description, so you guys can check it out if you would like it. But I think this is the blueprint of how to play bio against mech in general. So then if it gets late game, obviously you're gonna go for battle cruisers, ravens. But most of the time, it doesn't really get there. I feel like for the mech player, unless like a mech player can never get absurdly rich. I think if a mech player gets absurdly rich, you fucked up. So a mech player can't really go into battle cruisers. You can do it, but I think it's a bit of a risk. I prefer to just make the Viking libs and get all the bases, make good moves in my bio, just like this game, and that's kind of it. Obviously, bio units are actually pretty decent against little amount of tanks if you have a good spread. And that's gonna be it. Don't forget, I'll be uploading this replay as well in the description. I hope you guys enjoyed the guide. Please ask me any questions in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe, turn on the notifications. I'll see you guys for the next time. Adios.